Race 3B for the Mazda MX-5 Championship then about to get underway here on the Donington Park Grand Prix circuit that has treated us to some fantastic action all weekend long. What does our final Mazda MX-5 action of the weekend have in store for us? Well, I can tell you it's Ivan Leary and Thomas Jenkins who share the front row. Graham Rumsey and Charles Mugglestone are on row 2, whilst Tim Dorr and Oliver Attard are on the third row. Christian Dan and Pete Tyler are on row 4, with Bruce Robinson and Christopher Ginn sharing the fifth. Bill Rawls and Jonathan Fields are next, ahead of Tom Mallett and Andrew McGregor, then Pete Lancaster and Mark Bond. William Bream has Luke Such alongside on row 9. James Love and Richard Bartlett round out the top 20, ahead of Rob Mugglestone and Toby Owen. Andrew Dean and Dale Whiteman, then Ashley Heath, Anthony Pettigrew, Chris Malloy, Jack Brewer and Neil McGregor at the back of the grid. So getting ready then to go racing for the final time this weekend here at Donington Park. Ivan Leary, the yellow fronted car on the left hand side of the shot, the all red of Thomas Jenkins alongside him. Will it be one of those two that leads into Redgate Corner or somebody else from further back? No clear favourite in this race either, so this should be a really close encounter. Lights out, away they go. Good start made by Jenkins from the outside of row number 1. He will lead them into Redgate Corner, no doubt about that. Well, Graham Rumsey had a good start, then a missed gear, I think. The white, red and black striped car all of a sudden gets swamped by the rest of the pack going into Redgate Corner. And Graham Rumsey, after a really promising start, there he is, the number 45 car on the inside line, outside of the top 10 already. That's what a missed gear will do for you at the very start of the race, and it's a miracle in a way that no one collected him from behind when all of a sudden his forward momentum came to an end. Charles Mugglestone then into second place, but already attacking Thomas Jenkins for the race lead down into the old hairpin, and Thomas turns in. Mugglestone forced all over the curb and the grass on the right hand side of the road there. That nearly ended in tears, but Charles Mugglestone does just about survive it. Now, I said there was no clear favourite in this race. That was sort of true, in that we've seen Charles Mugglestone race at the front in these B races a few times in the past, but actually this weekend he's had a race pace, but his race 2 did not go to plan, and that's why he finds himself on the B grid. Arguably, given his pace earlier on this weekend, he could be the man most likely to take the checkered flag. And he's already actually got the lead back away from Thomas Jenkins, I can see in the distance then, as they turn through Coppice. Third place Leary, fourth Tim Dorr, and Christian Dan is in 5th position at the moment. No promotion spots to worry about in this race though. This is just a straight race, the last one of the weekend, and the gloves very often come off. Here comes Graham Rumsey fighting back up the inside of Pete Tyler and Christopher Ginn, that is, and in fact he goes up the inside of Oliver Attard as well. Can Rumsey slow the car down? Just about, I think. Bruce Robinson was the man that nearly got T-boned by him, but we're on board with Bruce now in the BC Cars machine, and he puts his thumbs up to Graham Rumsey. Now is he waving him through? Rumsey certainly coming through on the inside line into the hairpin. And Bruce Robinson didn't make it ultra difficult for him, but that's the difficulty. You let one car through, and then the next one he's not far behind. Oliver Attard read that situation well and crept through on the inside as well, and then Robinson has a less than perfect gear change and shakes his head as Pete Tyler drives past him, so that didn't really work out quite as Bruce Robinson would have intended. Leader though, no doubt about that, it's Charles Mugglestone leading the way. Thomas Jenkins is second, Tim Dorr third, Ivan Leary fourth, Christian Dan fifth, then Graham Rumsey from Oliver Attard sixth and seventh. Pete Tyler is eighth, Christopher Ginn ninth, and Bruce Robinson then dropped down into 10th place as a result of all of that. Attard now back up the inside of Graham Rumsey into Redgate Corner, reclaims the position. That was nicely done. Oliver has had a pretty solid weekend so far, really, hasn't he? He's been up towards the sharp end in all 3 races, even if the end results haven't always been exactly what we expected maybe. He certainly had good speed this weekend, no doubt about that. And there he is then, back into the top 5 again now as they drop down through the old hairpin. Ivan Leary there, his first appearance on the B grid this weekend after a good qualifying effort yesterday, but sadly he's not been able to hang on to his A grid slot all the way through the 3 races. He's got Christian Dan and Oliver Attard now right behind him. Attard really getting away now from Graham Rumsey. Ivan Leary actually is the lead Masters contender, I believe, in this race. No, Tim Dorr, in fact, is also a Masters driver. Of course, he's had a really good start from 5th on the grid. He's in 3rd place now, behind the top 2. So Mugglestone leading the way. The battle is on for second though. Tim Dorr, the yellow and green car, who is the Masters leader in this race, is attacking Thomas Jenkins now for second place. Behind him, meanwhile, Christian Dan drives around the outside of Ivan Leary into the chicane. And as long as he got the car stopped and turned in okay, then he should have been able to complete the manoeuvre. Very nice move it was as well. On board with Bruce Robinson, looking back at Tom Mallett, who, if you cast your mind back to race 1, was a pole position starter in race 1B. Unfortunately though, race 1 he rather slipped down the order slightly and ended up in 11th place, and Tom then was only 15th in race 2, so he's actually gained quite a bit of ground now to be just outside the top 10 as we move into this the middle part now, the third race of the weekend. Slightly ominous looking black clouds overhead, but I don't think it's going to rain. Oops, Tim Dorr's been off though through the hairpin at Goddard's. Now it looked almost as if he got himself ahead of Thomas Jenkins, but then threw it off the road. So either way, Jenkins is second now, but I have a feeling maybe he wasn't for a moment, and that Dorr maybe had gone through. Christian Dan and Oliver Attard, meanwhile, still debating 4th place behind them. All of this allowing Charles Mugglestone to streak away up the road. So Charles is now looking like the odds-on favourite for the victory here. The crane of the curves. Red car of Jenkins, green and yellow of Tim Dorr, then Christian Dan next up in 4th, 5th place for Oliver Attard, the black and green machine. And Attard 8th in the previous race for the number 51 car. But it's been a slightly trying weekend in general for him. So he'd love to round it out with a podium if he could, but to do that he needs to get past Christian Dan quickly and get after these two, because they are pulling away now slightly in second and third. In fact, he's going on the outside of Dan at Coppice. That was never likely to work. You're on the outside line, it's the dirty side of the road as well, and yeah, has to settle back in behind, but Tim Dorr is not settling for anything here. He's back alongside Tom Jenkins now for second place, into the chicane. Dorr on the left, Jenkins on the right. They break pretty much simultaneously, and Tim didn't fancy going round the outside into the chicane because there's a big gravel trap waiting to catch you if you end up taking a slightly wayward line through there. So he ducks back in line. Oh, Pete Tyler there, slow off the chicane, and Christopher Ginn went one way, Bruce Robinson went the other, and actually got past both of them. So Bruce Robinson continuing to make good progress in this race, actually. A bit fortunate maybe in that instance, but he still had to react well to get past the strangely slow car of Tyler. That could have been a missed gear, or it could have been a simply a bad exit from the chicane. These cars do not run sequential gearboxes. They're pretty standard gearboxes, so it is possible, and in fact quite easy sometimes in the heat of battle, to miss a gear or put it in the wrong gear. So that may be what happened there. Tim Dorr has fallen right back now from Thomas Jenkins as well, so he's actually almost in the clutches now of Oliver Attard. Then Dan and Leary next behind, then Rumsey, Robinson, Ginn and Tyler. This is a very competitive race, this one, race 3B. Maybe another race that could be won by a fairly large winning margin by Charles Mugglestone, but battling for second on back is a little bit tighter, I think, than we've seen really at any other point so far this weekend from the B grid. See there, trying to keep Bruce Robinson behind. Bruce, veteran of the championship these days, but regular sort of top 10, top 12 finisher in these B races. Yet, though, to get himself a podium finish this year. He's now under pressure, actually, because Pete Tyler's trying to get back up the inside. You can see this in the mirrors, going into McLean's. Oh, and Beatwell does go through, but was rather ambitious with his braking point. They both run out wide, and Christopher Ginn says, thank you very much. I'll just sail past the pair of you with relative ease. And in the end, actually, frustratingly for Robinson, he also does not get to fight back against Tyler. So Tyler did make the move stick on Robinson, despite making a bit of a Horlicks of the braking point at McLean's. It was very, very interesting stuff there between the two of them. Robinson now will have to regroup and try and fight back against those two if he can. Tyler a bit wayward through the chicane again there, takes a bit too much curb through the right-hander. Actually still took quite a quick line out of the corner. Robinson, though, closes in under braking, down the gears into second for the hairpin, so they don't need first gear. That's interesting. Then back out of the corner. Second gear, I suppose, controls the wheel spin a little bit more as well. Then into third. Do they grab fourth before the hairpin? Doesn't look like it. Hard on the brakes, back down to second gear up the inside of Pete Tyler, who's going to close the door, and Bruce Robinson, not for the first time, has to back out of a potential move so as to avoid contact. Now, for second place, Tim Dorr has caught, once again, Thomas Jenkins. He's back up the inside at Redgate Corner. And Thomas, again, not afraid to turn in when there's someone up the inside of him. We saw him do it to Charles Mugglestone on the first lap. He tried to do it again there to Tim Dorr. They're almost banging wheels. They are banging wheels out of Redgate corner. And Oliver Attard says, I'd rather just get past you cleanly and then escape up the road if possible. They're three abreast through the Craner curves. There's still three abreast and no one really wanting to give. Tim Dorr comes out of it with second place, with Attard third. And Jenkins, the big loser there, falls from second to fourth. Attard has now got a better exit from the old hairpin than Tim Dorr in front of him. Falls to the right-hand side. They'll give him the inside line for McLean's. He's gone through already. And in fact, Jenkins now also tries to go through, but everyone's a bit wide on the exit of the corner, and Dorr gets back ahead of him. So, in summary, Attard gets second place, Dorr third, and Jenkins fourth. But they changed positions about 4 or 5 times there in the course of 2 or 3 corners. Brilliant racing there, and a little bit of paint traded between Dorr and Jenkins, but generally speaking, it was fairly clean. It was that little bit of contact that they made there that just allowed Attard to carry the momentum around the outside at Hollywood and go through into the Craner curves. Now, can Attard escape? He probably should have the pace to do so. I don't think he's going to catch the race leader Mugglestone because he's already nearly 10 seconds up, but certainly Attard with a really good drive here, having started 6th, but I think he dropped back a bit at the start and then has been able to pick them off 1 by 1 really, or 2 by 2 in that case, got past 2 in 1. What's going on in Bruce Robinson land? Well, he's got Christopher Ginn in front of him, going back up the inside of Pete Tyler, who is now back ahead of Robinson then on this particular lap. Rumsey again looks slow out of a corner, so he's having some gear selector issues, I think, there, isn't he? Maybe from second to third gear seems to be the issue. And there gets a real wallop there from Tom Mallett in the background. There's Mallett on the grass. Rumsey also bounces his way back on. I think Mallett's broken his suspension or his steering there, but I'm not quite sure what was going on there. Meanwhile, Thomas Jenkins fighting back up the inside of Tim Dorr. We've been here before at Redgate corner. Wheel to wheel through the right-hander. On the exit, let's try not to lean on each other this time, guys. Yep, keeping nice space between the two of them through Hollywood. But they're going to run side by side through the Craner curves because neither of them gave a lap ago, and I don't think either of them will give this time either. There's probably a bit of needle now between these two as well. Still wheel to wheel, but Jenkins has got the inside line at the old hairpin, and Dorr will have to try and focus instead on getting the run up the hill towards McLean's, which he might be able to do. He's quicker off the corner, sit in that slipstream, and try to have a go into the right-hander. Is he close enough to get up the inside? The answer is no, so Jenkins hangs on to third. Meanwhile, back in the midfield, things are as entertaining as ever, and off goes the number 78 car. That's Richard Bartlett into the gravel at the old hairpin. There was some assistance there. I didn't quite catch who it was that made contact with the rear of his car, but it was all happening too quickly, really, to be able to apportion blame either. But the end result, there's no doubt about it. Richard Bartlett is in the gravel and out of the race. Tom Mallett, I can confirm, is a retirement as well. So too Toby Owen. He retired a lap or so ago. There are a couple that won't make it to the end. It's Robinson, though. Let's hope that he makes it to the end because he's provided us with some fantastic onboard footage in all 3 races. Been right in the thick of the battling. And that is Pete Tyler behind us in the slipstream down the hill. Pete moves to the right-hand side, but Robinson's later on the brakes than the attacking car, and so hang on to the place. Screeching of tyres as the revs rise and they accelerate out of the Melbourne hairpin. Right then. Round 3 between Tim Dorr and Thomas Jenkins. They are again nose to tail coming off the hairpin at Goddard's. Dorr will no doubt get the slipstream down the pit straight, and let's see whether or not he can have another go into Redgate corner, and if so, which way does he go? Well, Jenkins is hedging his bets at the moment, driving down the middle of the road. Dorr, I think, might have had to settle behind him again on this occasion. But at the back, meanwhile, that's 246 Bill Rawls. He has just driven past Pete Tyler, actually, so Rawls has sort of come out of nowhere in this one. And, yellow flags. Why are the yellow flags at Hollywood? Someone... Oh, that'll be because of Richard Bartlett down at the bottom of the hill, won't it? So much has happened in the last lap, I'd already forgotten that Bartlett had gone off down at the old hairpin. So that's why the yellow flags are out, which means no overtaking down at the old hairpin, which is a shame, because that's been a popular overtaking opportunity in the races this weekend. If you get a good exit, you can still overtake from this point onwards, because they're back into a green flag zone now. Pete Tyler setting about, attacking the Bill Rawls car in front of him. To no avail into McLean's corner. Hill. To Coppice, 1 or 2 spots of moisture on the camera lens, but the blue skies are coming again now. I don't think it's going to rain for the end of this race. We're into the final third of it anyway now. Tim Dorr and Tom Jenkins side by side again for second place. Christian Dan and Ivan Leary 4th and 5th, then Bruce Robinson 6th, 7th is Christopher Gintz. This is the battle for 7th here that we're watching now from the rearward facing camera of Bruce Robinson. Locking up there for Bill Rules into the chicane, and that might leave him vulnerable to attack on the run into the Melbourne hairpin from Pete Tyler, who's looking to the inside. In the background there you can see Pete Tyler, he's going to the inside, but neither of them wants to give way. Tyler's sideways, half spin, oh no, a full spin in fact. I think there may have been a bit of assistance there once he was already half rotated. I think he ended up then getting a tap in the tail, and around he went all the way. So Pete Tyler, unfortunately, found himself dropping well out of contention. There's Oliver Attard then second place, so excuse me, it's third place, isn't it, that Jenkins and Dorr are fighting over, and they've now been joined by Christian Dan. So this is third, fourth and fifth. It's all about the fight for the bottom step of the podium then. Thomas Jenkins has it at the moment, but Tim Dorr has been trying his best to take it away from him for the better part of half the race now, and just hasn't been able to make this one stick. And Christian Dan is now taking advantage of their ongoing squabble to close in, all down the inside for Tim Dorr into the old hairpin, where presumably the yellow flags have gone in now, but Tim Dorr was nearly the cause of some more yellow flags there because he was completely sideways into the right-hander. Now where's Christian Dan in all of this? He will surely come off the corner better than the yellow and green number 37 car. Into McLean's, there goes Jenkins, and yeah, Dorr is still in front of Dan, but as you can see, Dan is closer to him than Dorr is to Jenkins now. That will just allow Thomas Jenkins a bit of breathing room for a while. If Tim really starts defending and they lose the toe, then that might actually give Jenkins a reasonably clear run to the flag now. Out into the exhibition straight they go again, back on board with Bruce Robinson meanwhile, who's trying to chase down the top five. He's started now to escape from the gaggle of cars behind him ever so slightly. As you can see in the mirrors though, it's not a huge gap back to the next car in line. Bruce Robinson turns into the chicane, having to judge that well so as to avoid the rector-cell barrier on the apex of the corner. Then keep checking those mirrors because you never know when the next attack might come. I think that might be Rumsey behind us again now, is it? Looking to the inside, no, Christopher Ginn I think, isn't it? Yeah, it's the number 20 car, Christopher Ginn, trying to have a go on the brakes, and he did gain some time there through the Melbourne hairpin. Through goes Charles Mugglestone, let's not forget about him. He's got this very healthy lead. Oliver Attard then comes through in second place in the black and green car, and then Tim Dorr and Thomas Jenkins. We're on about round 17 between these two now, aren't we? As again they're about to do battle towards Redgate Corner. Tim Dorr has caught Jenkins once again, and what can he do about him this time? He's not close enough to have a go into the braking zone, I don't think, so they both take the traditional racing line into Redgate, which these days involves most of the pit lane exit actually, as they really try and take the widest line in that they possibly can. Doesn't seem to be deemed exceeding track limits, interestingly that, so they are allowed to use that pit exit. Turn in a bit later, carry the speed all the way down the hill, then you don't want to touch the brakes until here, into the old hairpin. And even then it's just a dab, maybe down one gear, possibly. Tim Dorr has that corner sussed out, doesn't he? He's always really quick through the old hairpin, unless he's sideways through it, which he was a lap or so ago, but he's definitely close enough now to be starting to cause Thomas Jenkins a little bit of concern again. But now Christian Dan, actually quicker off McLean's than both of them, gets to the inside of Tim Dorr into Coppice. This is an awkward place to make an overtake, and he had to send it, but he ends up getting sideways. It's a real block pass, but it does work. And Dan gets himself ahead of Tim Dorr, not to Tim Dorr's amusement, I'm sure. So Christian Dan into fourth. Can he get himself onto the podium now? He's got some good pace in the second half of this race. With Bruce Robinson, meanwhile, he's got a worryingly lonely racetrack around him. Christopher Ginn appears to have disappeared from his rearview mirror. I think that's him just in the distance. So behind us, that is. In front of us, there's a bit of a gap to Ivan Leary. So Bruce Robinson actually has a little bit of peace and quiet for a moment or two going down the hill. 90 car. You can see that third place battle though up the road, and he wants to be a part of it. They continue to hold each other up. That may yet happen. Charles Mugglestone, yes, though, comes through onto the final lap of the race. And a race that he's dominated really. Once he got the lead on the opening lap, he's not looked back. Took him a couple of attempts to find a way past Thomas Jenkins, but as Tim Dorr can attest to, it's not easy to get past Thomas Jenkins. And Charles Mugglestone in the end was able to get through halfway around the opening lap and has not looked likely to be beaten since then. He comes down through the grain of curves for the final time now in blissful isolation. No one in front, no one behind, clear track all around, but he'll be enjoying this nonetheless. The Donington Park Grand Prix circuit, a circuit that has an awful lot of history. Held the European Grand Prix, of course, back in 1993, and these days still holds international race meetings, things like the World Superbike Championship, for example. So it's one of the most popular circuits in the country, precisely because it does produce the sort of racing that we've seen time and again over the MX-5 races, both in the A and the B grids this weekend. Sometimes when you've got the track to yourself and there's no one around you, it can be even more enjoyable because it's got a really nice flow and a nice rhythm to it. Something that no doubt Mugglestone is enjoying at the moment. To Bruce Robinson now. I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen in this fight for third place, because it looks to me as though Christian Dan, off in the distance there, has got himself back alongside Thomas Jenkins now, going down the exhibition straight. So is Christian Dan going to be able to steal that third place away? Tim Dorr is in there as well, though. Down to the chicane. They go three abreast. That's not going to work. Surely someone's going to end up in the gravel. Yet there's a cloud of dust as we arrive on the scene. Now, what order have they got themselves into now? I think it may have been Dan that ended up losing out there. I reckon Tom Jenkins has held on to third, though. Down to the hairpin we go. On board with Bruce Robinson then. Onto the brakes. Through the right hand, they've all closed back in on each other again now, but Charles Mugglestone escapes all of the action further back to take the race victory then in race 3B here at Donington Park. It's another new B race winner, the 18th of the season. Oliver Attard will be on the podium in race number 3 as well. It's another new podium finisher, and for the final spot on the podium, it is going to be Thomas Jenkins then, who comes through to take his third podium finish of the year ahead of Tim Dorr, Ivan Leary, Bruce Robinson and Christian Dan. Lost 3 places on the final lap of the race then, so something really went awry for Christian in the final sector. But what great entertainment it was watching that lot battle for the bottom step of the podium. So it's Mugglestone then that takes the race victory by just under 11 seconds in the end over Oliver Attard second and Jenkins third. Dorr and Leary round out the top 5 ahead of Bruce Robinson, Christian Dan, Christopher Ginn, Bill Rawls and Graham Rumsey, despite those gear issues, to finish in 10th. Jonathan Fieldsend, Pete Tyler, Luke Such did well to come into 13th by the end, ahead of Andrew McGregor and William Bream. We lost, unfortunately, Richard Bartlett at the old hairpin, Tom Mallett at the Goddard's hairpin, and Toby Owen, another non-finisher.
Charlie, that was a hell of a race out there. Talk us through your favourite bits.
I think favourite bit was getting through to first on the 4th corner, and then it was a Sunday drive from there, really. I thought the second and third were battling. Knew if I could just bang in some 159s, high 158s, it was job done, really. So, yeah, happy with that.
So brought it home, happy bunny.
Happy bunny. Not thrilled to be in the B race in the first place, but things happen in racing. It's one of those things that happens every now and then, but nice to get my first win.
Are you going to come join us at Silverstone for the last round?
I will be swimming around Silverstone in -3 in October. Yeah, be good fun.
Well, we can't wait ourselves. So congratulations on this win and go and enjoy it.
Cheers, thank you very much.
And hell of a race. Please tell me you know how you managed to get all the way up to second place from 6 and it wasn't just luck.
Well, to be honest, myself, I don't really know. I got hauled up at the start, but other than that, it was a pretty fun race. Yeah, all the other cars in the grid were really good. Great racing, not a lot of contact, so that was great. Yeah, just a big thanks to the team for preparing the car. Looks really good and really quick as well. Thank you.
What was your favourite bit going around there?
I'd say at the second corner through the curves when it was 3 abreast and getting past 2 cars there. That was good fun.
Definite moment to remember then.
Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant. Are you going to come back and join us at Silverstone?
Definitely, 100%.
Right, we can't wait. We'll go away and enjoy this second place victory.
Thank you very much.
Tom, talk us through that race.
So I started second, I think, on the left-hand side of the grid. Took off, managed to get in the lead. Charlie was behind me. I knew I wasn't going to keep him behind me, so I let him pass. No, not really. He got past, disappeared into the distance, and then it was basically everyone backing up behind me and just trying to stay in third. So no, it was good. It was a good finish to the weekend.
Nice to come on podium and walk away with your head held high.
Yeah, very good. And on to Silverstone now. So see how we get on there. And hopefully I'll have a slightly better weekend. Getting the A's.
I was going to say, normally you're up there in the A's, so we were expecting that from you this weekend, but not to rub salt in the wounds, but your brother managed to just get in there.
Yeah, it's my younger brother once again, doing better than me, with a probably less competitive car than I've got. So, well, I'm going to have to improve something, maybe lose some weight or something, make my power to weight ratio better.
Maybe we'll see you jump in his car for Silverstone.
That's a good idea, actually. I'm going to say that to him. Yeah, we'll do that.
Well, congratulations on third place, and we'll let you go and enjoy the rest of today.
Thanks very much.